Does DeMar DeRozan make any sense with the Sacramento Kings? Since the news broke that that's what was happening, I've been kind of talking myself into DeRozan's fit with the Kings. First of all, he's good. Like, really good. He averaged 25 points a game in Chicago, 5 assists, and he was shooting 50% during his time while he was playing with the Bulls. And his presence will be felt for sure at the end of games, finishing second and third in Clutch Player of the Year the past couple of years, and ironically, joining De'Aaron Fox, who won it 2 years ago. He's going to give them another, primary creator playmaker that's not named De'Aaron Fox, and another secondary creator playmaker that's not named Domantas Sabonis. And that's something that this team is really going to appreciate, I feel like, particularly, as I mentioned, at the end of games. But I said this immediately when the rumors started to swirl that could be a possibility, and after the news of the deal broke, the fit's weird. It's a clear and unequivocal talent upgrade, but I felt like it was going to be clunky on the court. And then, in a late-night text thread, my friend asked me, why did I think the fit was going to be bad? And I didn't immediately know how to answer. I just did. So let's go through it. At first, I thought about pace. The idea of De'Aaron Fox, one of the fastest point guards in the league, should mean that the Kings push the pace. I've never thought of especially a 30-plus-year-old DeMar DeRozan as a player who played with any kind of pace. The Bulls were, in fact, in the bottom 3 last year in that regard. But the Kings weren't nearly as high as I thought that they'd be. They were just 14th last year. And yeah, in their breakout season 2 years ago, they were 7th, but still not as high as I expected. However, definitely not a half-court grind-it-out style of team either. But there's a silver lining here. 3 years ago, when the Bulls were actually good, when they had Lonzo and Caruso wreaking havoc on the perimeter defensively, they got out in transition a bit, and they were 12th in pace. So it's not like DeRozan can't be on a good team that pushes it a little bit. So then I thought about spacing. It must be spacing. A team built around De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis pick and rolls, pick and pops, flanked by Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk. Just gotta be a team that thrives off of spacing. Even Sabonis is more of a stretch 5 compared to most centers in the NBA. And DeRozan is a guy who doesn't shoot threes. So that must be why I don't like the fit, right? Well, De'Aaron Fox is actually not that great of a three-point shooter, just 33% for his career. He was 37 last year, though, on 7 attempts, which is really good, but he had a stretch that was pretty bad from January through March, and he could not hit one in the playoffs. Sabonis can shoot him, but he only does once a game. Harrison Barnes was a 39% shooter on 4 per game during his time with the Kings, and he's now gone as part of this deal. Kevin Huerter shot 36% last year. Malik Monk shoots 35%. And after a strong shooting year for Keegan Murray in his rookie season, he shot under 36% last year while taking 6 a game. The same as his rookie season. So it's not like his percentage went down as his shot attempts went up. He was getting the same amount of looks. He just wasn't making them. So my point here is that while the Kings were some theoretical pace and space style team with a bunch of shooters, that wasn't really the case last year. Spacing was actually not that great. And now DeRozan's 33% on 3 a game should definitely be considered a downgrade from Harrison Barnes at the 3-point line, but I think that should, in theory, be made up for the fact by DeRozan being a 25 point per game scorer and an absolute assassin compared to Harrison Barnes, who scored 12 a game last year, which is the lowest of his career since he left Golden State. So why do I still feel like the fit's going to be weird? I got to thinking, is this all just my perception and not based on any actual basketball reality? That's possible. And then I was watching a video and I saw it. In a DeMar DeRozan highlight package, it clicked for me. It's because of where DeRozan likes to operate on the basketball floor. And I don't mean exclusively out of the mid-range, which is accurate. Almost every one of the highlights in that package came from DeRozan in the same general area of the court. the free throw line, and the elbow. Guess who else likes to play through the elbow? Sabonis. And who else? De'Aaron Fox. All three of the Kings stars now, and you can laugh at the term if you want to, but all of them are 20-a-game scorers who have made all-star teams. All of them like to either get to or operate out of that free throw line elbow area of the court. That's where Fox likes to penetrate through, and that's where he'll pull up when he's not going to take it all the way down the lane. And that's where Sabonis likes to operate in the short roll, and that's where DeRozan starts a lot of his ISO ball. You've heard people say the phrase that there's only one ball when superstars come together? Well, it might be more appropriate here to say there's only one nail. Is this the end of the world? I don't think so. While Mike Brown definitely has some kinks to work out, I think they'll ultimately be okay. You can stagger some minutes between Fox and DeRozan so you have one of their playmaking on the floor at all times. You can have DeRozan initiate some pick and rolls with Domantas Sabonis. And a weird thought that I never thought I'd say out loud is, what if you had DeMar DeRozan in the dunker spot for some possessions? That might actually be kind of sick. Because not only does he still have some bounce to him even in his mid-30s, unlike most of the dudes that you're putting in the dunker spot, he can do way more than just catch lobs. He could be sitting there at 12 to 15 feet as a release valve. If his man wants to try to help, he's going to be absolutely lethal in the mid-range and be a way bigger threat to do something from that spot than pretty much anyone else in the league that would be in that spot on the floor. We'd have to see it, but I like the idea. And of course, they do still have Keegan Murray, who could be a major key in all of this, maybe even more than what we initially would think about those other three players coming together. Like, the linchpin could be Keegan Murray. If he's closer to the 41% three-point shooter that he was his rookie season and less like the 35% shooter last year, the defense is going to have to respect him. And Kevin Huerter shot 40% from three just 2 years ago. If he can get back to that, then the spacing around the other three start to be considerably less concerning, I think. All in all, I'm at least a little bit less worried about the fit after filming this than I was when the camera started. What about you? How good do you think that DeRozan makes the Kings? Are they ready to battle for the top of the West? Let me know in the comments, and of course, like the video so that YouTube knows it doesn't suck, and subscribe to the channel so that I know you want me to keep making them.